Okay.
Okay. So number one, we have scientific notation. Number two, we have 9.87 times 10 to the positive 8. 3, we have 1.2 times 10 to the negative 7. 4, the exponents have to be the same. 5, we're going to add the exponents. 6, we're going to subtract the exponents. 7 is the science that examines the relationships of matter and energy. If they miss it by a word, we could go half. If they're missing it by a few words, then not so much. 8's the total understanding of how the universe operates. 9 is equations. 10 has to be a fraction, A on the top, and C, D both on the bottom. And then why don't we pause that? So next quiz up, we need to go to 1-9, and that's not a mistake. We'll be back to 1-6, 1-7, and 1-8 in a long time. 1-6, 1-7, and 1-8 have some trigonometry in it, and we don't need to use that yet, and we're not going to try to teach trigonometry kind of stuff until we actually need it. I don't want to teach like some trig stuff tomorrow and then not use it for a month. It doesn't make any sense. So we're going to just table that whole thing for like a month. So we're up to 1-9. 1-9 looks to have 5 new points. And then compared to today, 7 stays the same, 8 stays the same, 9 stays the same, 10 is the same concept, but I'll switch what the equation actually is, okay? But you'll still solve something like we're solving in 10, just the problem will be different. Then we shove the stuff from the top of today's down to the bottom. Number 1 is gonna stay the same. 2 and 3 will stay the same in concept. You'll do math like that again, just with different numbers. 4 stays the same, and then has a follow-up question where you actually will do some math the way we're about to do this. So a question like this will make the quiz. 5 stays the same, and we'll have a problem like this that accompanies it. So we'll do an example on that in a minute. And then 6 stays the same and adds on a math problem like this to accompany it as well. So I think basically what I just said is everything stayed. Is that what happened? And it's spaced in like math problems, the fourth quantity ideas. That's so true. People are nodding their heads yes, so we think so. Homework from this part of the world is to go from 8 to 27. The problems are all scattered in and out of the different sections. Go from 8 to 27, only the part A's. So we'll do 8 to 27, just the A's. If you are feeling super awesome about how easy the A's are, feel free while you're at it to do the B's. Someday we will do the B's, but if you check your syllabus, you can see it's not for a few days. It's maybe like 2 days after, right? You have the handy. There's A's, and then a couple days before it's the B's. So ultimately, we'll do the B's, and then that's your choice. If you're awesome at the A's, go ahead and do the B's while you're doing the A's. If you're doing the A's and you're like, I'm a little iffy on this, then let's get some advice again on Monday, and then do the B's at a time once you feel a little bit better about the B's. But we're not going to do the C's or D's ever, so just the A's, just the B's. Question about those? So here was our ruling on the quiz was if we're going to add or if we're going to subtract. What did we have to have be the circumstance? Same exponents. So this has a 4, this has a 3. That is not going to work out for us. So what you're going to always want to do is take the lower power and make it higher. In other words, this 10 to the 4th is fine. We need the 10 to the 3rd to go up to be another 10 to the 4th. Okay, by this point in your math career, you've probably had a lot of experiences with things and understand you can't just change one thing without somehow paying for that. I can't just change a 3 to a 4 because I felt like it unless I pay for that in some way. So if the one part's going to go up, it would make the other part to pay for it go down. So if the 3 is going up to be a 4, changing by 1 power, what do you think we would do to this?
Make it 0.37.
Make it 0.37, move the decimal
Just
1 space. If we had to change the power by 2, we'd move
2.
2 spaces. If you had to change the power by 3,
3 spaces.
move 3 spaces. But since the power is going up, the number has to go down, and we're looking at a 0.37 at that time. Question about that little payment move. Okay, so the answer is going to be, if we just add these decimals, 1.57. When we add, would we change this? We do not. We leave that 10 to the 4th. 10 to the 4th is just set in stone. Question about that. So multiply. For multiply, we want to take the 3 times the 8, that's a 24. And then what did the quiz tell us about multiplication? Add the powers. We keep the 10. The powers add up to 12. That's either half right or wrong. It depends on your point of view. In terms of math, we're right. In terms of scientific notation, that is not correct. Why is that not correct in the world of scientific notation? We have to stay with this number between 1 and 10. So we have an adjustment to make. This has to go down to become 2.4, which means to pay for that, this has to go up to be 13. Question about that. Dividing, we'd want to divide the numbers. 1.6 divided by 4 is maybe not your favorite thing to do in your head. So if you need to push some buttons on a machine, 1.6 dividing by 4 is 0.4. And then what did the quiz tell us about dividing? Subtract the powers. 5 subtracting 10 is negative 5. Mathematically, that's correct. Scientific notationally, that needs adjusted. Why does that need adjusted?
It's not between 1 and 10.
It's not between 1 and 10. This went smaller than 1, so we have to make an adjustment. This needs to get bigger, so this, to pay for it, has to get smaller. So 0.4 rises to be 4. Be careful about your negatives going down, because sometimes that it deceives you. If negative 5 goes down, it's negative 6, and then we're good on that. Before I did that, I should have made sure on the quiz that we were actually okay with doing number 2 and number 3, and just that was working out for us. Did anybody need any help? Just number 2, number 3, making the scientific notation even exist. We'll get to homework in a second. Anybody, at last call, question about how to do stuff? Then let's look to, I think, cut it. I think that's it.